New York City, the city that never sleeps, home to over 8 million people from all around the world. How did we end up here? Let's find out.
Hi, I'm Jasmine,
And my name is Ivan,
and today we're going to talk about our lives in New York City.
and how they shaped us into who we are today.
Let's jump right in. My mother is originally from Cuba. She and her family came to the States during the early 70s seeking political freedom. During this time, Cuban citizens were not actually allowed to leave the country without permission from the government, but they had family living in Miami at the time, so they were allowed to come. However, New York was not their first stop. My mom actually lived in Miami when she first came to the States, but then she moved to Seattle where she finished high school and finally ended up in the Bronx. My father's family came from Puerto Rico seeking employment and better opportunities, but they went straight from the island to the Bronx.
My parents came here from their home in Puebla, Mexico, looking for a better life and for better opportunities. Knowing absolutely no English and having had no experience outside of the small town, they risked everything to come here to New York City. Why New York? Because it is the center of opportunity and the place where dreams come true. Everybody that wants to escape their way of life and poverty has dreamt of coming here, and so that's exactly what they did. They left in the late summer of 1998 and arrived here in mid fall. New York quickly became a home for them, and pretty soon, it would become a home for me.
There are plenty of Puerto Ricans scattered throughout New York City, so in that case, you could say there is a certain level of comfort and familiarity. But in all honesty, I've only met about three other people who are Cuban, but they're all mixed and don't know much about the culture. One of them didn't even know what Havana is, and Camila wrote that whole song, but that's beside the point. I like to experience new things, so I try not to let my culture or my background run my life in New York City.
For me, my culture has always been a big part of my life. Most of my family members are here, and as a result, I have always felt surrounded by my culture and my family. I have never truly felt left out because I always had something to come back to. My parents' first steps in introducing me to the culture was teaching me the language. So I can always say that my culture has definitely shaped who I am today, and as a result, I've always been influenced and I have grown to love my culture and the traditions that my parents brought here and taught me.
When I was growing up, I moved around a lot. At one point, I ended up in the suburbs of Woodbury. The neighborhood was okay and all, but everything was so boring up there. I miss being able to take the train or the bus, to watch a movie with my friends, go to the museum, or even just walk in the park. Living in New York City gave me this loose sense of freedom that I didn't know I had until I didn't have it anymore.
For me, the city has shaped me in the way that I move around from place to place and the way that I interact with people. You know, the city is always busy and it's always moving, so there's really no time to stop and gawk at everything that's around us. You know, you get from one place, you go there, and then you get to the other place. Same with people, you know, everybody's fast moving, everything is fast paced. So I guess the city has shaped me to become similar to that. And it's different to how my parents were raised and how they lived in their towns. So I guess it's kind of like a stark contrast between, you know, rural life and urban life.
Many of us know New York City is known for its cultural diversity and being described as a sort of melting pot. Coming from a high school and a community where the majority of the population is Hispanic, being in the city forces me to step out my comfort zone and talk to new people. I used to work a few blocks from Columbia, and one day a guy came in and he said, he's visiting from Germany. He spoke English perfectly, but he asked me if I could speak German. I told him no, but then he actually tried teaching me. I did end up forgetting whatever he taught me, but at the end of the day, it was still a fun way to kill 20 minutes off work.
In my experiences, the city has definitely opened my eyes to a broader scope of people, and it has really introduced me to the diversity that exists in the world. Ever since I was little, I can remember always seeing people of different colors, different nationalities, religions, ethnicities. The list goes on. And since elementary school, I remember seeing people of a different color than me. And at the time I was little, I didn't really understand it, but I always knew that there was something special about the differences that we all had, and it was just something really nice that I don't think everybody gets to experience. And growing up, going to middle school and high school, and even now in college, that experience and that diversity has only kept growing and becoming more of a part of me.
Typical stereotypes of New Yorkers is that we're rude, impatient, and we walk really fast. It may be true for some people, but that doesn't really describe what being a New Yorker is all about. To me, being a New Yorker simply means you're not afraid of being who you are and you really hate the MTA. That I can guarantee.
For me, being a New Yorker means accepting everybody's differences around you, and even though you might not always agree with them, we find a way to all cooperate and work together to make the city great. And I feel that that's one of the, long-standing principles of the city that's been in place since, the founding of the country and even before that. Everybody comes here, everybody works for something, and somehow we all make it together. And I feel that that's a wonderful characteristic that the city continues to have.
We want to thank you all for listening and we hope you enjoyed.